Hey everybody,
We're back.
Bad Pennies are back. I am Sho and this is my friend Alan. And we want to talk about emergencies.
Emergencies.
What's a real emergency?
I don't know. The sky's falling.
No, that's
I
not
ran
an
out of
emergency.
milk.
It's not an emergency. My house is
No?
on fire. That's an emergency.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you need to call 911,
The
that's an
carpet needs
emergency,
vacuuming?
right?
That's not an
No,
emergency?
no.
Oh, no.
If you really need to call 911, that's an emergency.
Okay,
Right.
so this is so we're going to talk about emergencies and how they're killing you.
How emergencies are killing you?
Yeah.
Okay.
How fake emergencies are killing you.
Okay.
All right, because we have
Fake emergencies.
become a culture of emergencies, and most emergencies today are what I call misplaced prioritizing. Right. So what happens is that, again, to explain this, is that we elevate things out of place by prioritizing them. In other words, I've heard so many times men tell me that that this commitment is a priority over another commitment, and that's not how it works. But when you do that, you will elevate something to the point where it's not just a priority, it becomes an emergency. It's something that has to be taken care of right now. All right, in the moment. Right? It's
Okay.
an emergency. And so you're going to go put that fire out. So you run over there and you put that fire out. While you're putting that fire out, all the other commitments that you have are now getting basically screwed over. And the longer that goes, the more they start to elevate in priority until at least one of them or more pop out as an emergency. And so now you got to leave this emergency that you're putting out, this fire, to run over and put out this fire.
Yeah.
And while you're doing that, then the other commitments, or things that need to be taken care of, are starting to elevate, and until all of a sudden they become an emergency. And now you got to go put that emergency, deal with that emergency, and you're running. And none of these are real emergencies, right? You're just prioritizing things, and what happens is that life becomes a process of just getting batted around. You're not really being what I have referred to many times through podcasts as being the master of your destiny. If you were master of your destiny, the only emergencies that exist are real emergencies. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what a real emergency is.
Okay.
So we can be very clear. Okay?
Yeah.
Number one.
Somebody's
pointing a gun loaded at your head.
That's an emergency.
That's an emergency. All right? Or a knife. Or the house is on fire.
The house is on fire. It's an emergency.
Or somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
Physically.
Come to the hospital quick.
There's blood.
Yeah.
Or something.
Right.
It's whether it's you or someone else. Hopefully not. But again, things happen. So that's a real emergency.
Mm-hmm.
And we're designed to deal with things like that through the fight or flight response.
Adrenaline.
I mean, there's all kinds of chemicals. I forget the number. Adrenaline's the sort of main one, but it's not the only one.
Okay.
And all kinds of brain chemicals get dumped, and we go into this state of fight or flight. And the thing is that what's happened is that we have, by living a life of prioritizing everything, you are creating a condition in which you are living in some level of fight or flight all of the time. And it puts tremendous stress on your body.
Okay.
It puts stress on your cardiovascular system. It puts stress on your brain. It's just not good for health, right? It's good for fighting or running, but it's not good for living day to day.
Yeah.
And by prioritizing things and elevating them to the point where you're constantly putting out a fire, or dealing with an emergency, right?
Yeah.
You're in stress all of the time.
Yeah.
And
even firefighters don't put out firefighters every
they
day.
don't. You know, that's the thing about firefighters. They put out fires when there's a fire.
Yeah.
And when there's not a fire, they're preparing, but they're not stressed,
Yeah.
right? They're just doing their work. They're sleeping, they're resting, they're exercising, they're organizing, they're cleaning, they're doing all of the things so that when an emergency does arise, they can take it on.
Okay.
All right? And when it's over, it's over.
Yeah, exactly.
All right? Then you go back to the firehouse and you clean shit up and you get some rest.
Maybe write a report.
You write a report and and then you get some rest and get prepared for the next time something happens.
Yeah.
But you don't stay in that emergency mode, right?
That's
You
fair.
don't because it'll kill you, and that's what's happening. The level of stress by being batted around by priorities, elevated to the level of emergencies, right, is literally killing us, man and women. All right, it's a very stressful way to live. So there's another way.
What would that be?
Well, it involves what I've many times called the bad words, right? And the reason that I do this is that every time over the years that we've talked about this with with rooms full of men, they react to them like they're bad words. All right, and
Let's give it to them.
and here's the thing that about that the reason that they're bad words is that they're actually they require something from us in order to live them. So here's what they are. Instead of living life going from emergency to emergency, putting out fires, we live life from a standpoint of duties, responsibilities, obligations, under the umbrella of living a committed life. An honorable, committed life. Right. And when we do that, and surrender to that, to those things, those concepts, right? What it means is that the commitments that we make, that we choose, because remember, we choose commitments. They don't choose us, we choose them. Even if something is presented in front of you, until you've chosen the commitment and then surrendered to it, it's not really a commitment.
Right.
Because until it is a commitment, you don't really have a duty, responsibility, and obligation around it.
Okay.
So so you choose it, and then you surrender to what it
Requires
dictates
the
and requires
system.
of you. And that's why these are bad words, because living a dutiful, responsible, obligated life requires something from us.
Yeah.
All right?
Commitment.
Well, commitment requires something of us too, because without the action,
Yeah.
there is no commitment.
So
Without
that's the
the actions, there is no. I mean, you can talk about these things theoretically, but unless there are actions that support it, then it doesn't exist. And so, without the actions, then commitments. But commitments dictate action,
Okay.
and we don't get to choose what those actions are. That's the thing about commitments. Commitments. Once you've chosen the commitment, but then the commitment tells you what you have to do in order to serve it.
Right.
And ironically, we fight commitments, even though they're the things that we choose. We know that for the most part will serve our purpose in life, and that they're good for us. They're good for us on many, many levels, right? Whereas opposite of a commitment would be addiction, and addictions are those things that we don't necessarily choose, but they control our life, and they're bad for us.
So commitments are things that we do choose that control our lives.
Yes.
And addictions are things that we don't choose that control our lives.
Yes, but they're almost exactly identical, except for one major aspect, which is the commitments. We choose them because they're beneficial, and addictions are not beneficial. They're harmful. At some point, you can make the argument about them, but ultimately they're still harmful, because even if it's just taking you away from time-wise, If it's a time consumption on something that isn't producing any value in your life, then it's harmful. You're not doing. Many years ago, back in the 80s, I was working at a business, and one of my friends in the business came up to me and he said, "I think I have a cocaine problem." And I went, "Well, what makes you say that?" And he goes, "I spent my house payment on cocaine." And I said, "Yeah, I guess that's a problem."
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
So
did you get that guy some help?
When an addiction causes you to defer the things you should be doing or need to be doing,
Yeah.
To serve your commitments, then it's harmful. It's harmful. Now, and of course, then there's the ones that are physically harmful, psychologically harmful, emotionally harmful, and sometimes they're even end up spilling over and being harmful to others as well.
Wow.
But you're the source of it. And again, the ironic thing about it is that we so readily and easily surrender to a commitment, to an addiction. And once we've chosen a commitment, the battle begins.
Because the addiction doesn't want to let go?
Well, because just the nature of addictions. They're the things that control us that we don't want to, but they do anyway.
And then the commitment
And
comes
the commitment
in
is
to
something
control.
that controls you only if you surrender to it.
Okay.
And the difference is that you just we all human beings so readily and easily surrender to addictions, and yet once we've chosen something that's important to us, that is beneficial and serves our purpose in life, like I said, the battle begins. That we fight it. We go to battle with it. We start becoming victims of our commitment. Of for lack of a better word, we push back. We won't surrender to it, and ultimately, commitments require sacrifice, and we'll resist making the sacrifices that are required by the commitment in order to serve it. And even though we know that the commitment is worth the sacrifice.
Wow.
Even when we know that the commitment is worth it, we'll still fight it.
Oh.
So these things that drive our behavior as men, duties, responsibilities, and obligations, and ultimately under commitments under the umbrella of living an honorable, committed life, right? And we fight them instead of fully embracing them. And there was a time that men more fully embraced these concepts than we do today. Our culture has shifted and changed, and as I said, I think in a podcast last week, which was that there are things as cultures shift that we can let go of, and there's things that we must not let go of. And knowing the difference requires work. It requires an awareness. And these are things that we must not let go of, which is living an honorable, committed life through our duties, responsibilities, and obligations.
Okay.
So by doing that, by the way, it begins to put things in their proper perspective.
Right.
Living a purposeful life puts things in a proper perspective. In order to live a purposeful life, you need to live a committed life to that purpose and to all the things that serve that purpose. So it starts to order things so you can be clear. And not only that, the beauty of it is that our addictions spill over into that whole prioritizing emergency thing. Because we get addicted to the adrenaline, and to the drama. The drama. Have you ever met someone who just their whole life is drama all the time?
Yeah,
that's an addiction.
Yeah.
It's an addiction to the adrenaline that comes from the drama, the conflict that comes from the drama. The drama that comes from the drama. It's drama for drama's sake. And but again, it's very stressful.
Yeah,
it's very stressful. It's killing you if you live this way, and so I like to think of commitments as the sort of pillars or the foundation that holds up your life. And like a pillar or a foundation, if you remove it or try to move it, if you take it out or try to move it, the house collapses.
Yeah.
The building collapses. You can't really, there's no wiggle room.
Right.
Because they're structural, and commitments are the structural pillars of man's life. And they can't be messed with. They can't be messed with. They are unmovable, and they need to be unmovable. They need to be so set in your life that moving them is impossible. And by doing that, by taking that context, everything else will work around it. Everything else works around it.
Everything else works around.
Except in the case of an emergency, a real emergency, as we have described already.
Yeah.
Real emergencies. So, and they happen, right? They happen. And when an emergency happens, of course, you drop everything and you deal with it. A real emergency. But prioritizing things elevates them to the experience of it being an emergency, and then you will sell out those pillars. You will sell out those commitments that are the pillars of your life, and your life falls apart. And now you're just a pawn in a game that bats you back and forth between one priority and emergency to another, and you're no longer the master of your destiny. You're just a ball in the middle of a game. Okay, so this is the switch. This is the switch. Doesn't mean that your family's not a priority.
Mm-hmm.
Family's a priority, and a commitment.
Yes.
Okay, taking care of your wife and your children, providing for them, that is a priority, but it's also a commitment. And the best you can do around that is to do your job, because by doing your job, you're letting them know that they're important and that they're a priority.
Okay.
Okay, you don't have to do more than your job. You just
Right.
do your job.
Right.
And we've
Handle your weight.
Yeah, we've done plenty of podcasts on what that looks like and what those jobs are. But,
Right.
Although we don't have time to cover them today, but you again, because it's a commitment, the commitment tells you what your job is. It tells you what you need to do to handle that commitment.
Right.
All commitments are like that. In other words, you can't sell out one commitment for another commitment, because once you start doing that, you prioritize them. And you elevate them to emergencies. So you're always, again, just putting out another fire.
I get it.
There's no way to live.
Yeah.
It's certainly not an honorable way to live.
Right.
Something's always getting sold out. So we want to live in a way that all the commitments are embraced in a heroic, no matter what stance. No matter what.
Okay.
And that means that you've surrender to them. You let them tell you how to serve them, what to do, and you do it. You do it readily and heroically. Otherwise, you're going to be a victim. And many people do. Many people just become victims of their own choices, which is just weird. But, human beings are weird. So, and we do these weird things, but if you step back and you look at it, you go like, "Oh, that doesn't work." Okay, so then you just stop doing it, and surrender, and whatever sacrifices you have to make, you make them because they're worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it is ultimately our goal to live an honorable, committed life.
Right.
That's why we're doing this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So all of you out there can do that. What else do we need to say about this?
I would say that the emergencies are definitely something that you would stop everything that you were going to do, would drop everything and go do that, or go take care of that.
Yeah,
That's an emergency.
Yeah, because
But it has to be worthy of that. So with everything that you're already doing, or whatever you have prioritized, it really has to be one thing that's going to break your system, that's going to make you actually stop what it is you're doing to go take care of that emergency, because it is an actual
dies,
emergency.
or the house burns down, or whatever it is.
Right.
I mean, vacuuming the carpet is not an emergency.
No, it's not. And also, like, even like work related things, like, oh, the email need to be done by 3:00 or whatever.
Look,
like,
your
no.
boss will try to make life an emergent, that commitment an emergency.
Yeah,
but
that's.
it's
I
not.
mean, there might be a priority
But
here and
there
there
are
that needs to
maybe
be taken care
times
of.
where something happens where you've just got to handle it, and you do. But if you're living an honorable, committed life, handling emergencies won't be a problem.
Right, because
It's
you
not
probably
a
won't-
problem
yeah.
because you're not going from emergency to emergency.
Right.
That's a problem.
Right. And
That's,
when you keep everything as organized and disciplined as it needs to be, then the emergencies are few and far between.
hopefully, and also this is the path of living a life where you are the master of your destiny, and it doesn't mean that you have control over what life brings you. You have control over how you are living your life, and that's and that will actually. Maybe we should do a podcast on this in the future, but that will actually radiate out into the universe, and the universe will respond in certain ways. And
Okay.
I can't, tell you what those ways are,
Okay.
but I can tell you what they've looked like, for me and for others over the years as we've practiced this stuff, and know that you get back from the universe what you put out to it. And so there's, by living, through duty, responsibility, and obligation, and surrendering to your commitments and not prioritizing them, says something to the universe. And by making everything else work around that, the immovable structure that are your commitments, right? That they are a no matter what deal. And by the way, that's how you never become an overcommitted man. Overcommitted men, by the way, are not committed.
Yeah.
Okay? Because committed men never overcommit.
Right.
It's not. It's not.
They know when to
possible-
say no.
Yeah, and it's not possible for a committed man to overcommit because he will say no.
Right.
Well, he'll take a look at it first, and really good men will stretch and take on more. In fact, we used to have an old saying: if your plate's full, get a bigger plate. And that is a life process, because but again, you can't you don't do that all at once. You do that over time in order to say, okay, I can handle all of these commitments, and I think that I'm at a level where I can take on more. And I know it's going to be a stretch, but I'm going to do that. And once you've taken it on and you've stretched, all of a sudden that becomes no big deal. And now you got to take on more. And this is the process. I mean, you wonder how some people just seem to be able to do everything. Well, they didn't start out that way. They worked up to it.
Okay.
They didn't commit to things that they were going to fail at. They committed and stretched and made it a I almost said priority, but they made it a no matter what kind of deal.
Yeah. I can
No
see
matter
that.
what, and all the other commitments they have remain no matter what as well. And so by having that context, everything else in life works around it. Everything else works around those commitments, and they figured out how to make them work around those commitments.
Okay.
Including the priorities that they do have in their life, family, things like that.
Gotcha.
Taking care of your parents.
That's an important one.
Well, it's important to you.
It is. It's a cultural thing probably, but
Well, it doesn't matter whether it is or isn't. It's not required, but it's a wonderful choice.
okay. Cool.
Okay, it's a good thing to do, and there's
So-
no laws that say you have to.
If there's no blood,
there's no blood.
You know, like
Then
just
there's no emergency.
take a deep breath and, you know, get yourself organized.
Yeah, and so that you don't jump into that fight or flight
Yeah.
world of drama.
Right. Right.
And
Too much adrenaline is not healthy.
Oh, it's really bad. Stress is the ultimate killer of human beings.
Okay.
It is. That's just the truth.
We're
Go
gonna
look
put
it up.
we're gonna put a little asterisk down on the screen.
Go look it up. Yeah, exactly. So again, remind you all, if you like this podcast, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give us a thumbs down. But if you give us a thumbs down, well, actually, in both cases, tell us why. You know, give us your comments.
Yeah.
We fully embrace them, and we especially like the ones where you disagree.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Let's have the dialogue.
We do. We like the ones where you where we say something that rubs you the wrong way,
Yeah.
and that's great because we want to hear from you.
Mm-hmm. And we ask you for you to share the podcast, especially. You know.
Yeah.
Get it, spread the word. Let everybody know that we have this, and
Tell
it's here
other
for
men,
everybody.
and you know, at all ages.
Yeah.
And even the men that know this already and have learned many of these things, it's always good to being reinforced.
Yeah, and go back and look at the Bad Pennies catalog. We got a lot of videos.
There's a lot of stuff at this point. So,
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Bad Pennies, we'll be back.
See ya.